Welcome to Echoes of the Unknown, the podcast where we'll be exploring some of the world's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. I'm Jack Montgomery, and today we're taking you to the vast frozen wilderness of northern Canada, far from the bustling cities, deep into a remote area. This chilling story unfolds near Lake Anjikuni, one of several lakes located along the Kazan River, where an entire village of indigenous people vanished many years ago, without a trace. The baffling disappearance of an entire Inuit village stands as one of the most perplexing cases in North American history. The story begins in November 1930, when a seasoned fur trapper named Joe LaBelle stumbled upon an abandoned settlement that had previously been home to approximately 25 men, women, and children. This haunting tale would eventually become one of Canada's most enduring mysteries, combining elements of Indigenous history, unexplained phenomena, and the harsh realities of Arctic survival. Lake Anjikuni, situated in what is now Nunavut territory, was a challenging yet viable location for indigenous communities. The lake system provided sustenance through fishing and supported trade networks essential for survival in the harsh northern climate. The village itself had been a familiar stopover point for trappers like LaBelle, who had developed close relationships with the community over years of trading and traveling through the region. The settlement was known for its hospitality, with warm fires typically welcoming weary travelers who hunted beaver and caribou in the surrounding wilderness. But what LaBelle encountered that bitterly cold November day was deeply unsettling. The village appeared frozen in time, as if its inhabitants had suddenly vanished mid-activity. The usual sounds of daily life, voices carried on the wind, barking sled dogs, the general bustle of a small community, were completely absent. Inside the wooden huts, bowls of food sat untouched on tables, while more food hung suspended over fire pits, now frozen solid. Perhaps most disturbing was the discovery that essential winter clothing, fur-lined coats crucial for survival in the brutal Arctic temperatures, remained hanging on hooks inside the dwellings. The scene became even more disturbing as LaBelle explored further. He found 7 sled dogs still tethered to their wooden posts, dead from starvation. This detail particularly alarmed investigators, as sled dogs were absolutely essential to Inuit survival and mobility. These working animals were considered invaluable resources, and no community would willingly abandon them to such a cruel fate. Adding to the eeriness, LaBelle discovered a disturbed gravesite where a body had been removed, yet the surrounding stones remained undisturbed, suggesting human intervention rather than animal activity. Upon LaBelle's report, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police launched an investigation. They determined the village had been abandoned for approximately 8 weeks before LaBelle's discovery. Despite their thorough search, they found no tracks leading away from the village, no signs of violence or struggle, and no indication of where the entire community might have gone. The complete absence of clues made the case particularly baffling. It was as if the villagers had simply vanished into thin air. The mystery deepened with reports of unusual atmospheric phenomena around the time of the disappearance. Multiple witnesses from neighboring areas described seeing strange blue lights in the sky above Lake Anjikuni. While the northern lights are common in this region, observers insisted these lights were distinctly different from the typical aurora borealis. The unusual nature of these lights later fueled speculation about possible supernatural or extraterrestrial involvement in the disappearance. Various theories have emerged over the decades to explain the disappearance. Some suggest the village fell victim to famine or natural disaster, forcing a rapid evacuation. However, this doesn't explain why they would leave behind essential survival gear and their sled dogs. Others propose more dramatic scenarios, including mass abduction by rival groups or even extraterrestrial intervention. The latter theory bolstered by the reports of mysterious lights. Ufologists have particularly latched onto this case, suggesting it as evidence of large-scale alien abduction, though such claims remain purely speculative. However, modern historical research has cast a certain amount of doubt on the entire narrative. The story gained widespread attention after appearing in Frank Edwards' 1959 book, but skeptics point out the lack of official records from 1930 documenting such an event. Some historians now question whether the village existed at all, suggesting the tale might be an amalgamation of various northern legends or a complete fabrication. The gap between the alleged incident and its first major publication, nearly 3 decades, has raised additional questions about the story's authenticity. The case of the vanishing village presents an intriguing paradox. The detailed nature of the account, including specific observations about food left behind and dead sled dogs, lends it a ring of authenticity. However, the absence of contemporary official documentation raises significant doubts, even though some people have long suspected a cover-up by government authorities. The story has become deeply embedded in Canadian folklore, representing either one of the most bizarre mass disappearances in North American history or one of its most enduring urban legends. The Arctic's vast, isolated expanses have long harbored countless mysteries, many of which remain unsolved to this day. Whether the Lake Anjikuni incident represents a genuine, unexplained phenomenon, a historical fabrication, or something in between, it continues to captivate those interested in unsolved mysteries and serves as a reminder of how easily truth and legend can become intertwined in remote, unforgiving landscapes. The case also highlights the challenges of investigating historical mysteries in indigenous territories, where oral traditions and official records don't always align, and where the harsh environment itself can quickly erase evidence of human activity. The extreme conditions of the Arctic, combined with the isolated nature of many indigenous settlements, create perfect conditions for mysteries to develop and persist. The Lake Anjikuni mystery remains a fascinating example of how unexplained events can capture our imagination and persist in our collective memory for generations. Whether viewed as a cautionary tale about the dangers of the Arctic wilderness, a possible supernatural occurrence, or simply an elaborate legend, the story of the vanishing village continues to intrigue and perplex those who encounter it, leaving us to wonder what really happened in that remote corner of northern Canada so many years ago. Thanks for listening to this episode of Echoes of the Unknown. The world is full of unanswered questions, and the truth is often stranger than fiction. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with fellow mystery lovers. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, some mysteries are never meant to be solved.